Hi everyone! I made this video as a review to the new Lee Cronin movie, The Mummy. At the time of writing the script for this video, I've already watched this movie earlier in the day. Now that I've gone through it, I'm going to regurgitate it and feed it to you, like a real mother would. And oh boy, is there some throwing up alright. Alright, well, the Cannon family is living in Egypt, specifically in Cairo. Cannon? The mom, Larissa, is a nurse, while Charlie, the dad, is a TV reporter who recently just got a job offer in the Big Apple, also known as New York City. My spring break trip there was actually very nice. The happy Cannon couple have two kids, Katie and Sebastian, and, even more good news, they're expecting a third, and it's a girl! After a small argument over a doll between the two currently existing kids, sorry fetus, Charlie breaks up the fight and Katie stomps over to play in the backyard. I get it, girl, have your peace. Anyways, Katie is then called over to the back fence where a woman she knows as the magician gives her some yummers candy and shows some cool tricks. The woman then gives old Kate a nectarine until a bug pops out of it and enters her mouth, causing her to choke and pass out. Lovely, so lovely. Back in the house, while on call with Larissa, Charlie finds lots of the same candy wrappers stuffed into the little girl's dollhouse. When questioned about it, Sebastian, deemed Seb, honestly says that Katie talks to a lady on the other side of the fence that gives her candy. Charlie goes outside to confront her about her candy usage and her whole talking to strangers shabam. Katie's gone, and part of the metal fence is bent back, implying a kidnapping. Charlie sprints through the streets like he has no tomorrow, and he happens to see the woman rushing away with the unconscious Katie in her arms. Due to a sandstorm, he loses track of them both, unfortunately. The parents report the kidnapping to local authorities like any good parent does. The lead detective, who's an old fart, calls on the goat, Dahlia, who translates from English to Egyptian and vice versa. Even though they show clear shock and despair, the lead detective thinks the parents are the culprits behind the case. After a sad 8 years and a very bad transition, the Cannon family now reside in Albuquerque, New Mexico, along with Larissa's mother, Carmen. Though Katie is still missing, her bedroom is the exact same as it was left before, leaving Sebastian to stay with the youngest daughter, who is revealed to be Maud. We teleport back to Egypt, where we get to see a mysterious plane crash happen, which kills the two pilots on board, featuring an ancient coffin which is found in the wreckage. Somehow it's thought that it's a stolen antiques case, so the coffin is sent to archaeologists who find a mummified lady inside of it. Yeah, she starts flailing and screaming, which scared a lot out of me. Oh my goodness. Shortly after the discovery, our main couple receives a call to the US Embassy in Cairo that Katie has been found. When they go to the hospital to see her, a doctor informs them that she is emaciated and suffering from trauma. Her vital signs are confirmed healthy, but her body spasms and she can't speak. She can only make guttural sounds. Dahlia actually came to see Katie at the hospital. She is intent on finding out what happened to the child, and Charlie holds her to that promise. Katie's parents are suggested that being with her family will help her heal, and she is brought back to New Mexico, where she is confined to her very pink bedroom, might I say. However, during a prayer by her grandmother, Katie headbutts the old lady, drawing blood from her forehead. Soon after, she escapes through a little door in her room that allows her to scurry through the walls like a mouse without meds. When she is redirected back to her room, the little doors around the house are quickly locked shut. Reasonably, Maud and Seb are creeped out at the sight of their newly found older sister, and this is their first impression of her, actually. At least for Maud. Their father precautions them to not discuss Katie until she's feeling better. The children get disturbed by a pack of coyotes that howl in the early night and also pass around the perimeter of the house. Charlie and Larissa also end up at odds with each other, bringing up their feelings about who is to blame for what happened to Katie. So we're speedrunning divorce? Wake up and break up, people. While Larissa claims Charlie blames himself, he makes her feel even more guilty by asking how she spent so much time at home and didn't know about the woman Katie was talking to. Ouch. Driven by this comment, Larissa is determined to heal her daughter, but when she and her mother attempt to clean up Katie, an attempt to cut her toenails causes a large piece of flesh to come off, like up to the knee. As Charlie examines it, for some reason, he finds that there are multiple layers of writing on the skin. Looking at pictures of the wrappings that held Mummy Katie, he sees similar characters, making him seek out an archaeology professor at Albuquerque Community College. After reviewing the pictures, the professor explains that the text is a way to keep an ancient spirit named the Nazarenian at bay. While spending time with Katie in her bedroom, Charlie hears her clicking her teeth together. He finds out that she's communicating using Morse code, and using a decoder from when she was younger, he finds that the clicking translates to Layla. Charlie calls Dahlia, but she needs more information as Layla is a common name in Egypt. When she asks if the kidnapper might have sent the family any correspondence, Charlie goes to the basement and opens a large trunk which contains sympathy cards from when Katie went missing. Many of the cards were not opened, and Charlie goes through them looking for answers. One has an Egyptian return address and a card inside with a candy wrapper drawing similar to the wrappers Katie had been hiding. There's also a name attached, Layla Khalil. Dahlia searches through records until she finds a name associated with a woman whose family owns a nectarine farm. This helps her remember, as the nectarine was found at the crime scene when Katie went missing. When Dahlia goes out to the farm, she finds that it's abandoned, but also with signs to not flood the area. When she enters, she soon locates pyramidal ruins through a secret door under the house, along with an area where it appears that a large coffin had been stored there. Returning up top, she sees a person has returned. When Dahlia demands the person come out, a woman charges at her with a knife, causing the detective to shoot and the woman to fall to the floor, bleeding out. As Dahlia exits the home, she sees a woman with a hijab approaching. She demands that the figure stops, but the woman takes off running anyways. Dahlia finds her at the end of the cliff, digging for something in the dirt. She threatens to fire, and the woman surrenders, handing over a metal tin. Inside, we find a video cassette with Katie written on it. Such a caring individual, giving out an early Christmas present. Merry Christmas, people! Back at police headquarters, Dahlia identifies the woman in the hijab as Layla. She tries interrogating the woman, only to find that her mother, whom Dahlia shot, has had her tongue cut off. Guess you can say she really had to hold her tongue, huh? Anyways, she communicates that this was after she tried to tell the truth, and then she writes a large confession about what happened to Katie that would put an author to shame. Meanwhile, the currently possessed Katie starts inflicting torment on her family. She can now speak some words and possesses Maud to curse out her teacher. For some reason. This causes Sebastian and Charlie to take her home from school. Meanwhile, once more, Carmen attempts to pray over Katie, only to have the girl levitate off the floor and send the old woman crashing through the nearby window and onto the hood of Charlie's vehicle just as they return. You'd think she'd learn her lesson from last time. Charlie attempts to help his mother-in-law, as a good non-blood related son, but before a pack of wolves appear and devour the still-alive Carmen. Ouch, first of all. Following this event, even more locks were placed on Katie's door as a funeral was held in the house for Carmen. I don't know what they think the locks are gonna do, but it's generally funny to me. During this time, Katie causes more chaos, making Maud pull out all of her teeth and put in Carmen's dentures. She also can't help but torment Sebastian, speaking to him through his mind and eventually taking him over too. He was my favorite character. Katie has actually been secreting a corrosive bile under her rug that she uses to break through the floor to the downstairs area. Having escaped, she jumps into the coffin and bites Carmen's neck like a vampire, drinking the embalming fluid inside the woman. Following the catastrophic event, those attending the in-house funeral are quickly ushered out. Katie is returned to her room, and both parents deem themselves helpless because they have no control over what happens with Katie. Later on that evening, Dahlia shows up at the door with the recovered video cassette. The tape reveals Layla's mother telling how their family has done this ritual 82 times over the years. Or, I don't even remember if that's right, I'm gonna be real. A younger host will allow the demon to live longer in a vessel until a new one is needed. Katie's parents watch the tape in horror as we can hear Katie's screams and cries of wanting to be at home with her parents, but the woman and others in the recording chant a simple ritualistic incantation. Suddenly, a stream of magical dark bile, no, not that kind of magic, passes from the mouth of an old man in the coffin to Katie, and she goes silent. The video then shows the family wrapping her in special bindings before having her sealed in the coffin. Dahlia also claims that Layla informed her that her brothers were the ones transporting the coffin in the airplane, as the valley was going to be flooded, hence the signage. Plus, the bindings and the sealed coffin were the main things that kept the Nazarenian from escaping. Upstairs, Katie possesses Sebastian to come to her and help her remove some more bindings on her body, aka her skin. Lights begin to flicker, and Katie uses her siblings' bodies just to torture the family. Larissa rushes to her daughter's room as a sandstorm rages outside the house, caused by the demon. Dahlia is attacked by Carmen's possessed body and a scorpion that crawls down her throat and punctures it from the inside. She reaches into her throat and manages to pull it out as Charlie rushes into Katie's room and hugs her tight as she writhes and struggles. Looking at Dahlia as she comes into the room, his expression tells her what he has planned, and she knows. Oh, she knows! To keep her wound from exploding with blood and to talk, Dahlia presses her fingers to her throat and speaks the incantation she heard on the tape. I have no idea how she learned it. Like, on the tape, a gush of mysterious black substance flies out of Katie's mouth and into Charlie's. Once it's over, the inside the home and outside, technically, sandstorm ceases, and Katie is able to speak to her mother once more, as herself and not as the Nazarenian. There's an unidentified time skip in which it's shown that Charlie has been locked away inside the chest that contained the sympathy letters for Katie, since we couldn't get the sarcophagus, I guess. Katie is fully recovered, playing with her two younger siblings and communicating to Charlie using the Morse code that she learned before she got kidnapped. But Larissa feels like the family is incomplete, so she calls up the now able to talk Dahlia. Layla's mother, the magician from the beginning with no name, survived the shooting from earlier and is confined to a hospital bed. When a nurse enters, she stabs the woman with a syringe that successfully paralyzes this witch. And that nurse is Larissa. After a quick back and forth, Dahlia enters, wheeling in the still possessed Charlie. Dahlia closes the door, and as the camera pans away, we can hear her reciting the transference incantation, sending the demon from Charlie to the defenseless woman. I personally liked this movie, actually. The gore and intense visions were great, but I do have some notes that I think other movies can take into consideration. Number 1, the sound effects were really loud. I was sitting there listening, and each sound felt like it was accompanied by a loud boom, like, for example, a step or scream. Not my favorite thing, but I understand that it can add tension. Number 2, it just felt excessive. Each scene didn't get enough time to settle in. It would be jump scare after jump scare, blood splatter after blood splatter, which felt overused halfway through. Number 3, and the last one, Layla's mother. Also known as the magician in the movie, she genuinely doesn't have a name. It's never addressed in the movie, and they never tried to get her name in the first place, which I think could have wrapped up the movie way quicker. Besides these 3 lukewarm takes, the movie was executed great, and I thought it was cool that it was different from other mummy movies that were installed before it. You could really see the modern aspects of a mummy that they incorporated into it. As always, thanks to the IMDb synopsis writers for typing out the whole movie. That's basically where I get my details from, and I couldn't have made this video without them. Like in the last video, I'm feeling generous, and I'm going to give you 3 fun facts to leave you on. Number 1, during one scene in the movie, Lee Cronin himself handled the blood effects and spat fake blood off camera so that it could be right. Number 2, the deviled egg scene, in which Maud picks out all her teeth and throws up a small amount of blood onto those poor eggs, was made specifically for the shock factor, or it most likely would have been cut from the movie. And finally, instead of an actual mummy, they used a demon that turned children against their parents for a more modern look. Well, thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure, and before I forget, I'd like to know what you want for future videos. Yes, you! tell me a movie or show in the comments that I should react to, since I haven't got an idea on how I want to format my future gaming and art. Okay, that's the end now. Bye. Thank you.